Well, yesterday kicked off Hispanic Heritage Month, which is celebrated nationally from September 15th to October 15th. Did you know in Iowa, Latinos make up about 7% of the state's population? By the year 2060, the Iowa Latino population is expected to grow from 220,000 people to nearly 520,000 people. And today is Mexico's Independence Day. Locally, LULAC kicked off the party this weekend with an East Moline Independence Day parade. Check this out. This was the scene in East Moline yesterday. It was the 15th annual Independence Day Parade and Fiesta put on by the League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC. The parade celebrated diversity and community, passed out Mexican-themed candy, and raised money for a scholarship fund. And there is more where that came from. Next month, you can experience a Day of the Dead Family Day at the Figgy, as well as a veteran salute and closing ceremony at the Davenport LULAC location. But first, what is Hispanic Heritage Month and why do we celebrate it? Joining us now to discuss this is previous LULAC Iowa State Director Daniel Salazar. Daniel, thank you so much for being here with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with the what. So what does this month celebrate?
Sure. So, well, technically, it celebrates the many contributions that have been made to U.S. culture, to America, and to the world from those Latinos that live in the United States. It came really about from just years of a lot of repression, and this is a similar story with Black History Month, right? With Asian Pacific Islander History Month. There was so much repression and so much pushback against this new culture that was an Anglo-Saxon that for a long time people didn't really see it as part of being American. So this is kind of a way to try to say, hey, you are as American as apple pie, and you are part of this world. So it's really just trying to recognize something that has really been pushed down for so long.
So why does it start in the middle of September?
Sure. So it's really interesting. It just so happens that many of those countries, right? So we're talking about those that were colonized initially by Spain, happen to have their Independence Day throughout that month of Spain. You mentioned today is Mexicans' Independence Day, because that's when they had it. But throughout the line, throughout South America, throughout that month of September, many of those countries started fighting back and started fighting against those initial colonizers to have their own independence from Spain.
You know, it's not uncommon for Americans to hear Latino or Hispanic and jump to Mexico or Puerto Rico, but it's so much larger than that. And this month celebrates so many more cultures than just two countries, right?
And yeah, I mean, so that's always a hot topic issue. And it really just goes down to, what's the context that you're talking about it. Technically speaking, Hispanic refers to those countries that were once colonized by Spain, so then we speak Spanish. And this idea of saying Latino is really just trying to reference that whole of Latin America that was all colonized at one point, right? Not just from Spain, but from France, from Portugal, and really trying to unify all of us as a people, saying, hey, we are here. And just going back, technically, right, I explained what it's supposed to be, but in reality, I think what Hispanic Heritage Month is supposed to be is it's supposed to be something for a little boy in their class, little girl, little boy in their classroom, looking up and saying, "Oh, I can be an astronaut just like that Latin American," or maybe I can be president, right? So for so long we've seen, for example, old white guy being the president of the United States. This really pushes those Hispanics and minorities who've accomplished a lot of things in this country and presenting that to those minorities, those Latinos in the schools, right? It's an ever-growing population, not just in the United States, but in our schools, right? So why not offer people that look like those students as role models, right? So that's really the wonderful thing that it's supposed to be doing.
Daniel, so eloquent as always. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And for you guys at home, we have information on both of next month's Hispanic Heritage Month events locally, including a Day of the Dead Family Day at the Figgy up on our website. All you got to do is click on the ads seen on TV tab.